Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews, and we are back to finish Season 1 of Homecoming. We are at episodes 9 and 10, so full spoilers if you haven't seen the episodes. They're called Work and Stop. Pretty nice little way to wrap things up. Whether or not there's a second season, I can't really say. There is some ambiguousness to the ending, and a couple of loose ends that could just be taken as, you know, you have to use your imagination to fill in the blanks, and as to what could happen later. I kind of feel like they did what they needed to do, and I kind of feel like that it doesn't really need to come back. If Sam has more to say about this, then, you know, sure, if he's the kind of guy who could pull this off. But I do feel like if this is it, and I kind of feel like it is, it's a really nice end. It feels like a book. It feels like a book that's over, and if they do a sequel, I don't know what they would do. As far as speculation goes, I mean, I can always speculate, but maybe we'll get to that at the end of this. So, like I said, full spoilers if you haven't seen this. So after the aftermath, basically, of knowing what's going on, that they are erasing the memory of war so that they can send people back to places like Afghanistan, so they can send them right back out. I really love how how Work starts and ends with Colin and Heidi meeting, how she talks her way into the job, and then how he's kind of on the fence until she would have been fine, she would have been free of this, but she went a little further and got the job, and now she's feeling the guilt of all that, of everything, that the consequences of things. And the guilt, and feeling responsible, and feeling like she should be punished. And even Colin, in a way, is ready to kind of come clean, at least to his wife, about what he did down in Florida, which is probably to tell her that he slept with Heidi. But his wife is just as complicit. I was, put it in the box. It doesn't move us forward. I always kind of had this feeling throughout the series, that him and her were kind of in trouble. And that that their marriage maybe was on shaky ground, but apparently, she's just, I don't know who she's connected with or how much she knows about his work, but she clearly doesn't really care what he does. As long as he writes it in the book and moves forward. And then they just bang it out. So, I mean, I don't know. He almost had a human moment amongst all the times that he's, inhuman. But he doesn't get away with it, and I love that. He, we think he does, but he doesn't. One of the things that is kind of left hanging here is that Tom goes and elevates the complaint, and immediately his boss is on the phone to Geist, which I kind of had a feeling was that she was gonna be in on it. And he elevates it, and he finds the leaf that Schreier gave him. Schreier? Yeah. Now, that's a loose end to me that they never tie up. You never see Tom again. He gets up out of his chair and bounces, and that's it. So that could be a thread that could go into another season. Or you could just fill in the blank yourself, which is that he sees the plant, makes a connection, and figures out that the plant that he has, the leaf, is part of the medication, which would lead him somehow down the rabbit hole that is what they've been doing to these people. But with his boss kind of in his way, and we're already warning Geist, how far would he get? I don't know. Kind of an interesting little wrinkle there. If they weren't going to resolve it, like I said, it does leave the door open for further show. It also, like I said, you can maybe fill in the blanks like a good Hitchcock kind of mystery. You don't always get told everything. You kind of have to just make that leap yourself. But then, I love that, the rest of this is pretty much Heidi trying to make up for things. I also love that we find out what did happen on May 15th. And that's when they find out, when Heidi finds out that the drug trial worked and he is fine with going back, which is not really where he was wanting to end up. He wanted to go home, but the thing is kind of erased it so to the point where he doesn't have those feelings anymore, so he can go back. He doesn't remember the bad things that made him not want to go back. And so I love what she does. She does the only thing she can, which is to, well, I mean, it's crazy. Like, on her part to okay, so it's wrong what she did, giving him the week 6 double dose, but she was doing it for the right reasons. And I know that's a slippery fucking slope there, but she knew that if she could get him back to 0, that she could at least save him from having to go back to Afghanistan or wherever they were going to send him, to get him back to where he needed to be. She was dosing herself so that she wouldn't be able to tell them anything. I love how she's getting rid of the evidence, mails the letter off to his mother. And then in that conversation that she's having with Walter, talking about Yosemite, going around that California area, the fish camp, planting that as his last memory, the thing that would come back. And that's a really cool story touch, really good writing choice there. So we get, now we have, Craig tells Colin freaks the fuck out on Heidi in front of all these military people that were just congratulating him on making a great product, which was so fucking well, all he has is this written quote. It could be by anybody. He could have written it. He could have said it himself. It could just be totally made up, but he's saying it. And the fake tear, the fake emotion that he gives. Oh my God, seriously, I can't say it enough. Both him and Stephen James, that's his name, right, I think, who played Walter. Both of these guys deserve some recognition for this show. Julia Roberts, again, she does too. Our 3 main people here really deserve, and Shea Wiggum, he was really good in this. He's just kind of, I wish he had a little bit more here. I wish that they gave him just a little bit more of a juicy ending to his character if this is the end of it. But yeah, when he loses it in front of those guys, I love that. And that's just in the middle. This is just after what she did with her and Walter. But so he's, moved on. He's moved up. They somehow forgave him, sort of. But when everything else goes down, when they find out that he went off and he lied about where he's going and protocol. He always was talking about protocol. And I also love the conversation that she has with him after she's done drugging herself and she knows she only has a certain amount of time, and she uses it to tell him off, and pushing him in front of making him lose it in front of those guys. I mean, she didn't know who he was in front of, but I love how she throws the way he talks to her back at him. He's always got to be the one who just won't stop talking and keep changing things and changing the words and making you feel like you're the bad guy when he's the bad guy. It's just so great. A nice little flip on him. And continuously getting flipped on now in the rest of this episode, where his secretary is sitting at the desk and she flips it on him. There is no more Ron. When the DOD called, they decided to get rid of everything that could be a problem, which was Ron and Colin. And they can't get rid of, Heidi because she doesn't really, she's not really the problem. It was him going down there. Like I said, he created the problem when he went down there after her. If he had maybe just gone and realized that she didn't know anything, when he realized that, if he had just left instead of pushing it, because even in the thing, they said, you taunted a Department of DOD employee. He just kept making things worse for himself. And I love how it just plays out at the end, where he tries to then turn it around again and say that, oh yes, I'm ready. I'm so happy for you, and I'm ready to do whatever it takes. And she's just basically like another person that's just ready to fill in his shoes, and it's his secretary. I love it. I love it. And she's more than ready, and I love her. She's from Orange Is the New Black. It's nice to see her do something like this, and really, she doesn't get a lot to do. But that scene with her and him, where she just suddenly becomes the intimidating one, and the big intimidating guy becomes a nobody. Fantastic end to his character. I mean, sometimes the consequences just don't happen the way we want them. Sometimes the only thing that these people get is, they lose their position, they lose their credibility, they lose their clout. And I guess maybe that's, to that person, that is punishment. That is, everything they worked for is now gone and unappreciated, and you're tossed away. You're not even as good as the last thing you did. It's just a great finish to that. I'm sure other people were like, oh, I wanted to see him get killed or something, but that's just not the way the world works all the time. And then we have that nice ending, and it maybe is a little unrealistic, but it's the way they set it up earlier on, with the way she was talking about taking the road trip and meeting up, and that whole another great conversation that her and Walter have, continuing the whole road trips and where they go, and the hardware store and the diner and the gas station and the cabin by the creek and panning for gold. She tells his mother the truth. His mother won't forgive her, and that's fine. She just wants her to know, she needs to know that what happened to her son. And then her figuring out where he'd go, and them, taking that road trip to find him. And she does. And this was one of those situations where I was like, I love that she's got the map. She's ready to make him remember everything. And she struggles, and you see that she's struggling with it, and then when she doesn't, that's where she gets to be redeemed. She does the right thing, and doesn't force it. And they have this great touching moment that is really beautiful and really great. And is it, some big mind-blowing, oh my God, this is what was going on situation? No, I don't think it all, not everything needs that. And this is perfect. And, he gets up and he leaves, and she did what she had to do. She got him where he needed to be, safe, trying to make up for what, they did to him. Which, remember, she didn't know that they were trying to redeploy people. She thought they were helping these guys to get back to society. She was lied to. So, I mean, she feels complicit still, but I mean, she really wasn't in on it. Not in that duplicitous part of it, that evil part of it. But she still lets him go. And then you just have that one little quick, perfect moment where she sees the fork, that she always has things straight, and he always has to move it. And he moved the fork. And you can take that meaning a few things. And again, does this leave the door open for more story? Yeah, kind of, but again, I kind of hope it doesn't. Because her realization that he moved the fork could mean that he does remember her. Or that he's, waiting for her to make, take the next step. Or maybe he's also doing the same thing. Like, he knew that she would come out there. And so they both, maybe he doesn't know that she knows, and she's supposed to not know that he knows. But now that that's happening, it opens the door for her to follow him, and for this to have a happy ending. Or it could just mean that he, he's on his way to remembering her, and then it would make her want to stick around. And I think that's a really beautiful way to end it. And I as a slow burn, as this thing that it's not Mr. Robot, it's Homecoming, which again, I kind of feel like is a fitting title to the end of this. And I don't know, I'm impressed with the story. Again, like I said, I've had problems with the structure, but not with the directing, not with the acting, not with the way that it's shot. It's so well shot. The score, the music, like I said, the last episode when they used the music from The Thing, that was fucking brilliant. So, I mean, this is another great, that proves Sam Esmail doesn't just have one good thing in him. Now, I don't think this show is for everybody. Especially if you have if you can only think of this on the level that it should be a Mr. Robot level or above that. I think if we temper our expectations and you really just kind of let it happen and you watch it, I think you will be satisfied with it. Will it change your life? No, but it's the best thing I've seen from Julia Roberts. And by watching the whole thing play out, it's the best thing that I've enjoyed Julia Roberts in a long time. So. I don't know. If there is more, I have faith that they can do something with it. But I also think that this is a nice little end to the book of Homecoming. And I kind of hope it's perfect. I kind of feel like it's a perfect little thing all by itself. It doesn't need to be said anymore. Sometimes you just got to let things just be the way they are. So anyway, that's it for this. I'm really impressed. I'm really happy I watched it. I can't believe I got it done in like 2 days. And so, well, I mean, it is only like 5 hours long, really. So anyway, if you liked this, please hit the like button, comment, let me know what you thought of this whole thing. Share, subscribe, all of that. Hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, this is Rob Smirking Reviews. We will be back with more Haunting of Hill House, Walking Dead review for the final, who knows, Rick Grimes episode of The Walking Dead tomorrow too. So anyway, this is Rob saying have a nice night, and we will see you on the next video.